Yo, what's good? It's your boy Young Two Time.
It's your boy X, man. We got a serious, urgent matter today.
Yeah,
Things
man.
that have passed, huh?
So today we're gonna be discussing the legalities of the Supreme Court's most striking down Roe versus Wade.
Legality, look at you, man.
That's what the title says. Before we get into the
fucking
video,
with
make
you.
sure y'all like, make sure y'all share, make sure y'all subscribe, man. Let's get into it.
Joining us to discuss this precedent is a Professor Olatunde Johnson, a law professor at Columbia University. Professor Johnson, thanks so much for being here. Roe v. Wade, of course, was a landmark decision. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled the Constitution of the country protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion. What specific legalese did the court opine on today that reversed that decision?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. I mean, today was really a monumental day. Even though many of us knew it was coming because of the Dobbs leak, of course. So what the court did was overturn the Roe Casey fundamental ruling that there's a right to abortion that's protected by privacy and liberty interests. And what was stunning about the court.
So these are the people that made the big decision. It should be kind of crazy, bro. Like, when you kind of think...
6-3?
I think so, yeah. But it's kind of crazy. Like, all right, this room of people right here, y'all gonna make big ass decisions that's gonna affect the whole country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, like, there's like I think the processes of like it has to get passed through them somehow, and then they kind of vote on it or some shit like that. But first of all, what you think about the whole ruling?
I mean,
Do you agree or disagree?
I mean, I disagree on it because I feel like a woman should be able to choose what she does with her body. But then, how you mentioned how these people decide, I feel like it should probably be more so a vote where people actually got to go to the polls and vote. And I feel like there might be some people that would be like, yo, I don't agree with abortions. But although they don't agree with it, will they go out to the polls and vote for it is a big different thing. So I feel like unanimously people would vote for, like, you know what I'm saying, pro-abortion than pro-life, because I disagree
with that.
You think so? You disagree? Yeah. But I feel like more people would go to the polls and vote against, pro-life. I don't even know the proper term to say, but I feel like more people would be for having abortions and will actually feel the need to go out and do it.
Okay, you confusing me. Okay, so do you think if they did the polls, you think pro-life meaning no abortions?
No, other way.
Other way. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so then
that's what I'm saying. I feel like more people. I feel like more people feel strongly about people having a choice to choose whether or not they have abortions, and will go out to the polls and vote for it.
I agree with you then. Yeah.
I feel like there's some people that might be pro-life, but I don't think pro-life people are going out to vote on pro-life. I don't think they care about it that much. They might just have an opinion on it or feel a certain type of way about it, but I don't think they're going out their day to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think they care that much.
You know what would be funny though is like with stuff like that. I seen this reporter. He kind of like was trolling people. So like he went to like a pro life what do you call it, rally or something like that, whatever it was, or a protest or something. And he went over there and he was like, so you feel like, you know, it should be pro life, whatever. It's like, yeah. And then they asked him about the COVID shot, and they had some interesting things to say about the COVID shot, where they felt like people shouldn't have to take the COVID shot or should or whatever. And it's like, so your stance on this is one thing, but your stance on this is another thing. Yeah. So it's kind of like they were kind of catching like contradictions with that. But I don't know, man. Like this is strange. Because it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere on some level. But I do feel like I think women should have that choice, because it's like, granted, yes, you made the decision to sleep with somebody unprotected, whatever, in most cases. Yeah. But, goddamn, like, should you have to live with that choice for the rest of your life? Or what if you got raped, or you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the other side of it too that makes it tough.
Yeah, and I feel like generally, I feel like it's a money thing. Because I feel like it's like more so like population control, not letting the Mexicans take over. You know what I'm saying? Not even disrespectful, but I feel like it's like a dominance thing in the United States where they want to keep a certain amount of, you know what I'm saying, white people around.
That's what they saying too. Because I also heard one where they was talking about when this like became official or whatever. So okay, just so y'all know too, like each state kind of has their own leeway to decide if they support it, right? Yeah. I think about 13 states so far have like said like like we're pro-life. But damn, what was I about to say? I just lost my whole train of thought.
Court, in order to do that, it had to declare that the decision was wrong from the start, that it was egregiously wrong, is what the court said. And another aspect that was really interesting really came out in the final opinion, because the court had to respond to various concurrences and dissents, were that there's no reliance interest. The women, one of the reasons you don't overturn past decisions is that people have relied on it, and the court really gave short shrift to the idea that Roe and Casey have been relied on. So you really saw a coming together of this notion of there's no right in the Constitution to an abortion explicitly protected, and also the coming together of that with the...
Now I remember what it was. So there's also word of making same-sex marriage illegal again too, and making interracial dating illegal as well. They're saying that this is what the next step in all this is going to be as well. But I think it's unlikely. But who knows, man? Because even this shit is kind of left. Like, I thought most people would be like pro-abortion anyway. But let's see what else they talking about.
A stare decisis approach that says it was so wrong we could overturn it.
Right. Stare decisis meaning basically if you stand by what has been settled or what's been decided already, to make sure that the Supreme Court has consistent rulings for the country. It was more about having that consistency than it was about always getting it right, because otherwise you could have constant reinterpretations. I mean, that brings up the point, Professor, Justice Kavanaugh famously now said in his confirmation hearing that he thought Roe versus Wade was settled law. Does this ruling seem to indicate that at least on this court there isn't such a thing as settled law?
Yeah, it certainly makes us question what's coming ahead in terms of other precedents that the court could overrule. Just sticking to some of these privacy and liberty interests, I mean, the court, in this opinion, the Dobbs majority says, this is just about abortion. We are not going to overrule our prior decisions about contraception or about same-sex marriage, or that say that you can't criminalize gay sex. That's what the court says, but you can't really be certain, because some of the logic of the ruling today that really adopts a very narrow view of what is protected by the Constitution, and even some of the concurring opinions, you see Justice Thomas has a concurring opinion that says, in effect, everything should be looked at again. Now, that didn't carry the day, but we don't really know what's ahead. And we have decisions next term.
Alright, so abortion in America says 59% of abortions are obtained by women with children.
So they already got kids.
Okay, that makes sense. 49% of abortions are obtained by women who live below the poverty line. That makes sense. They can't take care of the kids. Over 90% of abortions occur in the first trimester. That makes sense again. Only 1% of abortions occur after 21 weeks. Facts are the facts, you know what I'm saying? I can't argue the facts.
On affirmative action, cases that are going to be heard before the court, and I think there's a real question as to whether the court will adhere to this principle that you nicely made me explain of stare decisis, which means really following its past precedent.
Storm the Capitol.
Reaction, as we know, this is not really
Them
unpopular
trials
opinion
going
with
on.
the public. 2/3 of
Some
Americans
hearings for
did not
the
want Roe
storm
versus
the
Wade
Capitol thing.
overturned. Now the discussion is there anything that the rest of the government could do to stop it even if they wanted to? What legal options would the federal government have to try to undo this rule?
Yeah, so what you're going to see is a lot of work at the legislative level. There will be some attempts to do, protect abortion rights administratively, but I think those are going to be kind of limited. That means the executive branch, the presidency, could say, for example, abortion rights are safeguarded on federal property. But much of the battle is going to take place at the federal level, legislatively through Congress, or at the state level. So at the federal level, you could have Congress decide that it's going to codify an abortion right. We already have an act, a bill that does that, and it hasn't been enacted. And a lot of that is because of the filibuster and also because of contestation over abortion rights. Of course, Congress could also go the other way because of the decision. It could ban abortion in all 50 states. I'm not suggesting there are votes to do that, but that is a legal possibility. But then you're going to see a lot of state level action. I think that's where the battle is going to be. I mean, already 13 states effectively have these trigger laws, which means that abortion bans will soon come into place automatically or nearly automatically. And about 25 states, we expect about half the states will probably ban abortion because of this. And so there are lots of legal questions that are going to still remain on the table about whether or not you're going to ban the right of a resident, of a citizen of a state to travel to another state, whether states can reach across their borders and really criminalize other activities in other states. There's more to say on this. There are groups, even though...
I was just thinking about that shit too, though, because, like, you could say, let's say New York is illegal, but Mass is legal. So you got people coming from New York to Mass and shit to do it. What percentage, if you had to guess, we just gonna guess here. How many people where their state is illegal for abortion are actually gonna travel to another state to get the abortion?
Like 80%.
You think 80% would do it?
If you don't have the baby, you don't have the baby.
Alright, how many do you think actually afford to do that?
I mean, here's the thing about it, right? $400 plane ticket, $40 every week on milk. What's your choice for the rest?
See, okay, but this is the thing. That's how you breaking it down, right? That's not how most people might be breaking it down. They might look at it like, well, maybe a child could be a blessing and whatever.
So you think somebody who doesn't want to have a kid will come around and be like, a child is a blessing?
It depends on the case.
Who doesn't want to? Someone who doesn't want to have a kid will be like, you know what?
You're talking about the guy or the girl?
Both. So you think that maybe somebody who
if it's both of them at the same time, it's gonna be real tough.
But I'm saying, but we talking about people who don't want to have kids. We're not talking about people who kind of want to have kids. This is about people who want to choose to not have no kids.
So you're saying, okay, so both of them don't want the kid.
Yes.
They end up having the kid.
No, they don't have a kid. I mean, they're in the process of trying to figure out what they're trying to do.
But what if neither of them have money to, like, really travel to that extent?
I mean, I don't know. What do you do at that point if you don't have money to travel? It's like, I don't know, maybe.
Then you kind of trap, or you gotta do some shit.
Give it up for adoption. You might use the hanger method. I don't know.
I'll tell you this.
I don't know.
Most people ain't doing the adoption thing because once that kid is born and shit, and then knowing the feeling that you have to pass it to somebody else, pass the kid to somebody else.
But people who don't want a kid, you think they're just gonna keep a kid just because they're?
Dre, I'm trying to tell you. Once that kid is born, to give the kid up for adoption is a whole nother thing. Once you in that moment, bro, I'm trying to tell you. That ain't no easy thing.
Can't really speak on that case.
But in terms of like travel, damn, what if they like in the South and all the states around them is like, nah.
I mean, that's harder though. Cause like how Texas banned it.
But I'll tell you this: the people that make that travel, no matter how far the thing is or how close or whatever. Like if it's out of state, if it's just out of state, you really don't want to have kids.
But I mean, what we're talking about is people who really don't want to have the choice to choose. And if that person really don't want to have kids, they'll do anything to not have a kid. Right?
I don't know if it's that simple all the time, but I hear what you're saying. Because there are people out there that just never want to have kids.
Exactly. So those people will do anything. But
there's also people that may not want to have kids right now. So those are the people that can be 50-50, I feel like, in terms of actually going somewhere else to travel. Because they're kind of looking at it like, well, I don't want it right now, but da-da-da-da, all these reasons or this reason.
Yeah, and then you might have the people who don't want to have kids. I mean, who may or may not want to have kids, but they still want the right to choose whether or not they have kids. And those people, I think, are the people that probably would just keep the kid at that point. You know what I'm saying? Where they be like, it's just a kind of blessing. Where they kind of want to make the choice for themselves, but since it came, to them it seemed like a blessing in disguise.
Man, this is just tough, though, man, this whole situation. Because
Let's talk about it.
Because now you're kind of forcing people to kind of have to make a move where they kind of have to go somewhere.
I mean, I think it's just wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's tough. It's tough to do that because now you have to move around, finesse for a mistake that you might have made. And then imagine if you, like a woman that had a one night stand with somebody. I think those probably, from my guesstimation, I'm gonna say most women that probably have abortions is women that don't have the money like that, and the women that have situations where they don't know where the dad is. Because of the shame of the situation, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That position wasn't adopted today by the Supreme Court, but who would want the fetus to be protected by the 14th Amendment? Okay, so that if that were the ruling, if that's where the court ultimately went in a future decision, that would ban abortion, potentially criminalize abortion in all 50 states. So I don't expect the legal battles to stop. I mean, this has an immediate impact on women, especially poor women and women of color. But because there's going to be such a patchwork of approaches, it's going to raise a range of legal issues.
This definitely felt much more like a door opening than a door closing. Olatunde Johnson, law professor at Columbia University, we appreciate your time and your perspective as well. Hi, everyone.
A door closing and a door opening. What do you mean by that? I don't know.
But yeah, man.
What y'all think in the comments, man? Y'all think this is wrong? This is right? Y'all indifferent? Let us know.